Hey, babe.
Hmm.
Got a challenge for you.
Hang on. I had to uppercut someone. Yes. Rambo.
So, in honor of Pride Month,
Yes.
got a challenge. So, LGBTQ in
Right.
horror movies.
Okay, what's the challenge?
You've got 2 hours
Okay.
to come up with LGBTQ in horror movies.
That's it?
Yep.
Cake.
All right.
2 hours.
So I'm giving you 2 hours.
Come up with LG positive.
Positive.
Right? Positive.
Yes.
Yeah, because,
Yes.
in honor of Pride Month, I don't think you want,
No. Not at all.
easy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Look at me and tell me that.
Easy.
All right. I have faith in you. We got this?
We got this.
All right. I love you.
Love you too.
We don't got
I
this.
fucked up royally.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going through with this. So this video was supposed to be pretty much, have you noticed that this video from beginning to end, when it was conceived, has been nothing but problems? This video was supposed to bring Clash worlds together, Pride Month, and my love of horror. So there was supposed to be a really big opening sketch over there about, before I tackle this, I got to talk to the Masters of Horrors, which were just going to be a bunch of my friends on a Skype call. No one could get together to do this. So guess what? I'm going through with it anyway, and guess what? This is going to be taken really weird. Okay.
Okay, also, we should put a disclaimer out there.
Yes.
We are in full support of all LGBTQ.
I'll break
all
out
that.
the Lego set again. I will.
So we're trying to put them in a positive light.
I found one positive character.
Okay, well that's good.
One. And he was treated like shit.
Yes, and that's what we don't like to see.
Yes.
We don't like to see
So we're flipping this while not in a positive light. These are tropes and cliched in horror movies with gay and trans characters, and this mosquito, well no, screw him, that cliche and tropes that I'm just done seeing. And the one that comes up a lot is we'll get to it, but if a character has some kind of mental illness, they automatically like the same sex. So I'm jumping the gun on that one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I will get to that one. I broke it down because I could have been here all day doing this, but I have like 5 to 8 movies. And I'm just going to go into those. I'm going to get one of the big ones out second after I bring up this one. And then the other big one I'm going to bring in at the end. But first, I want to talk about Hellraiser.
Okay.
Because there's a really kind of cool thing going on with the trans community right now going into Hellraiser. And it's making the rounds right now. If anybody has seen the movie Hellraiser, you know that the character Frank in the movie... Well, let's get the negative out and then the positive out, okay? Okay.
I'm glad you straightened that out.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, look, a couple years ago in the gay community, Hellraiser was kind of seen as a big thing for a negative reason, meaning if you know the Cenobites, they come from hell, they are for the all-consuming hunt for pleasure and pain, and that desire that can lead you to hell. There's a allegory for this being AIDS. Clive Barker is openly gay. He's very down-to-earth guy. He's grotesquely beautiful. I don't know if this is how he envisioned this, but that's kind of like a negative, meaning you're just hunting for the pleasure, you're not caring about anything, and oh, hey, it's going to lead you to hell, meaning AIDS. The trans community flipped it, which now Frank in the movie, yes, he was the antagonist. Frank in the movie literally goes through hell, and when he comes back from hell, he has to rebuild himself and pick the body he wants.
Okay.
I like that. also want to add that if you have never read the book, The Hellbound Heart, yes, I have notes this time. The Hellbound Heart, the lead Cenobite.
Forrest is actually prepared.
I know, the lead Cenobite.
Proud of you.
Not Pinhead. I never call him Pinhead. He's the lead Cenobite, and he's played by Doug Bradley, perfectly and beautifully. In the book, he is lead Cenobite. He is not a man. He is genderless. The first chapter talks about him being in the shadows. It looks like a man's physique, but when lead Cenobite speaks, it's a woman.
Okay.
So it is genderless. Now, the female Cenobite that we see in the movie, how she's very, like, lead Cenobite, she's very soft-spoken, stands there, and you really don't know what the hell she's going to do. You just know she has her throat kind of cut open. In the book, she's Lust. The chapter actually ends with her sitting on a pile of heads, I believe, with her legs open, you know, telling Frank, come here. And that's how he ends up going to hell. But papers. But the trans, I guess, analogy, I can't think of the word right now. Comparison to Frank coming from hell, going through hell to have the body he wants, and the trans community. I like that. I dig that. It's better than the other one. This mosquito is pissing me off.
There's
two of them.
Flies.
It's two flies.
They're getting me a little agitated.
And we're talking about hell. I've seen The Exorcist. I'm just letting you know, Fly. I have. But we're talking about something serious here. And as we all know, me being a white, straight-ish male, straight-ish, I watched a lot of David Bowie Labyrinth growing up. I am totally the guy to cover this topic. Totally. Alright, should I knock out one of the big ones now since you're already laughing? By the way, she has no idea what I'm going to say.
Oh, should I be scared?
No, well, you're not up to this. We've only watched one.
Well, I haven't even seen Hellraiser, so...
I got the compilation DVD. I don't know if 1 and 2 are on it because it switched studios. That's a different topic. The big one, of course, is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. The quote-unquote queer movie. We have a male lead instead of the typical female leads in horror movies. And his name was Jesse. Male lead with a gender-neutral name. Jesse played by Mark Patton, who at the time was a closet homosexual. He's very open now. He actually just did a documentary not too long ago about the movie called Scream Queen. This movie, if you've never seen it and only heard of it, yeah, Freddy's coming into the real world through the body of a 16-year-old boy. There's a lot of undertones, especially when you find out the infamous one about his high school teacher liking to go to leather bars. And, okay, this movie gets a little weird with the pacing and the plot and the editing. He ends up at the leather bar in the middle of the night after a train. By the way, 16-year-old ends up in the leather bar after a thunderstorm because he's basically just wearing his PJs, so they're all clinging to him. Goes into the leather bar. The bartender, who's Bob Shea, who the head of New Line at the time, who they had in an all-leather outfit, serves him a drink. The coach stops him, makes him go back to the school in the middle of the night and run laps around the gym while he's still in the wet PJs and he's still in the leather outfit. This scene ends with Freddy coming out of Jesse, using towels to tie up the coach in the showers, X-style, and then uses the towels to whip him repeatedly before Freddy takes the glove and starts slashing at his back. Can't imagine why this is a queer movie, but you know. Before you say anything, there is the infamous scene of Freddy coming out of the boy's body, which is he's literally ripping him out. It's how Freddy's defeated at the end. The quote-unquote love interest, Lisa, kisses Freddy. And Freddy bursts in the flames, and out of the charcoal remains of Freddy, Jesse comes out. Nothing underlined there at all about, you know, a woman kissing a guy and all of a sudden he's a man now. Get me? You want to attack this one now? This is next in line for the Nightmare series.
Well, I was going to say, that scene, you showed that to me.
Oh, yeah.
So I know...
showed that to you not in this context. I showed you that because that is the one time in all the Friday the 13th, well, Nightmare on Elm Street series that's not Robert Englund.
Yes, this is true.
That is just some jackass who walked up and did the motions, and that's when the directors went, all right, we got to get Robert back in here.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is no other, and you can't really replace Robert with anybody else.
This is going swimmingly. It's not.
You're nervous.
I'm a little nervous.
I know.
But that movie's fine. It actually is a fine movie. And now that it's the queer horror movie, you go back and you watch it now, there's nothing freaking wrong with it. You don't really care. Because there's like all this build up behind it, like, oh, it's the queer horror movie. Then you go watch it, it's like, still scary Freddy torturing a kid, coming into the real world, killing people. It's got the highest body count, I think, of a Nightmare on Elm Street besides Freddy vs. Jason. He's still dark. Looks like the Wicked Witch. They gave him like a crooked nose and really dark eyes. It's a fine movie. You want to look back and, destroy it for whatever reason, go ahead and try. But right now, this is like the quintessential queer horror movie. And I'm fine with it. It works. It's awesome. The opening scene is the best in any Nightmare on Elm Street, and actually is probably one of the best for any horror movies. The character, Mark Patton, Jesse, he does a great job of this kid. Again, he's 16 years old. There's maybe one time he looks good in the whole movie, and then other times it's this kid that is going through hell and very confused. That adds to it. It's a good movie, good queer horror movie, if you want to call it that. We're getting to it after we're done with Halloween. We're working on Halloween, and no, there's no Halloweens in this. Anything you want to ask about this movie?
No, other than I want to see it.
I left out like the big gay joke about it is he's making out with a woman, he's kissing down her body, and then Freddy sticks his tongue out of his mouth,
yes,
licking up and down her, and he stops and he goes and runs to his frenemy who sleeps in just boxers and no shirts on, and he wants to spend the night with him in his room, talking about there's something inside him that needs to come out. I'm laughing at it. I don't mean any disrespect, but anyone who's seen this movie laughs at this scene and goes, yeah. Should I move on to the next one? Before you ask more questions about this?
Other than...
And remember, this was 85 or 86 that movie came out. So, one, it looked gritty, it looked good, but the 80s and gay characters was still very...
Oh, yeah, it was a very new thing, and it was very, like, taboo subject.
You know what's funny, though? Sticking with Freddy and kind of sexual themes, that movie people look at, yeah, that's the queer horror movie, that's fine. But have Freddy turn into a giant phallic-looking snake in a third one, eating a little girl, well, that got a lot of shit. That was in part 3. People totally forgot about part 2 after that scene.
Well, I haven't seen either yet.
We're getting there.
We're getting to it.
There's a list.
We have so many lists. Oh
well, thankfully, I'm not even halfway through this one. So
my list has a list.
Yes. All right, I'm going to jump right into Chucky.
Go ahead.
This is actually one of the more positive characters that I found, and probably the most positive character.
Where'd he go?
Where'd what go?
Chucky.
He's underneath the flag. He's right there. His foot's sticking out right there. You can see there. He's poking his head out behind the purple. See him?
Quit your yelling. He was right here.
Well, yeah, I moved the bookcases over there.
I forgot.
I'm going to really... I was going to just tackle Bride of Chucky right here, but I'm going to do Bride of Chucky, Curse, and Cult real quick. Because Bride of Chucky, this has the positive gay character I found. I came to memory. Now, keep in mind, you can come up with more characters in, I'm going to say, mainstream horror movies, because if I did this direct-to-video, we'd be here for the next couple of years. There's so many horror movies that go direct-to-video.
I don't have enough space on the camera
there's
for
enough
that.
Space. But David Michael Woolvelt played a character, David, in Bride of Chucky 1988. This is a very positive character. One, he loves his friends. He loves the male lead. He loves the female lead. He actually pretends to be the female lead's boyfriend to get her out of her house, her controlling uncle, because her boyfriend isn't as well off as they are. He's from the wrong side of the tracks. You know this story.
Typical, like...
He believes in them as a couple. He wants to help him. And when it comes down to them getting framed for the murders that Chucky does, he still believes in them. He still wants to help them. It's not until he actually finds the uncle's dead body in the back of their van. They have a cargo van with like one of them seats that doubles as a chest. He opens the chest and he sees the uncle's dead body, and the uncle's John Ritter.
Aww.
That he, everything this character was up until this point, just immediate 180. And he pulls a gun on them, jumps out of the back of the van while they're on a highway, and this is what pisses me off, is this character was likable, this character was a positive role model, this character was good with these other leads. He was a great damn character. His death is, he jumps out of the van, they're on a CG highway. They are not on a real highway, and this is 1998, and it shows. He jumps out in the middle of traffic, and you can tell it's all CG cars, and there's a bus. And it's not just a CG background with CG cars. This bus looks really cartoonish, and the bus hits him, and he splatters. Like popping a water balloon, and it's like, it's PS1 graphic blood. Like, it is just terrible how this character, in the end, was treated. It was a character that should have went through some shit like the main two characters did, but eventually should have lived, should have been in the series ongoing. And I'm mentioning this because Don Mancini, who created the Child's Play series, he is an openly gay I was going to call him a character. No, he's an openly gay guy. I don't understand why, like, they did something like this to this character. I don't know if Ronnie Yu, who directed it, had a say in it or not, but this character should have been treated better. Now, moving on. Yeah, okay. Seed of Chucky was after this, and then it was Curse of Chucky. Moving on to Curse of Chucky. One of the main, not the main characters, I'm sorry. The little girl's mother in this, she is having an affair with the nanny, and the nanny's like a 20-something-year-old woman. They are having an affair. She's still married. I'm bringing this up because it seems to be a theme going on with Chucky now with openly gay characters or closeted characters, just gay characters in general, and that's cool. I'm glad more gay, trans, and whatever characters, I say whatever with all due respect, are getting in the horror movies. This goes nowhere. Like, this is literally a scene where if they were not having an affair, or if they were not in a relationship,
it wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered, because the only scene where you really see that they're in a relationship is the nanny's on this side. It all takes place in a house, like one giant gothic mansion. The nanny sleeps in the room down at that hall. The mother's down at this hall. They're quietly Skype calling each other. So they're Skype calling. The nanny's wearing next to nothing. Chucky runs by in the background. The nanny's in the same room as the daughter. So the mother goes real quick and points, and so she looks over thinking the daughter's up, and it's Chucky, and Chucky like pushes over a bucket of water, electrocuting her. The outlet in the water, and she gets electrocuted. Not needed. She could have been Skype calling anyone, and Chucky killed her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And after she's dead, and after she goes missing, because Chucky apparently now has the strength to drag bodies everywhere, it's never brought up again that she's having an affair.
You know, one thing I just popped into my brain, with all the horror movies that are out there, they have to be getting pretty creative on like how to kill people. You know?
Yeah,
to be different.
Sometimes you stick with your classics like Chucky, Jason, Michael Myers. I mean, you saw Michael 4 the other night, and you saw the trailer for the new Halloween. He still relies on that butcher knife. Well, not butcher knife, that carving knife.
Yeah, this is true.
Still relies on that. See, as Chucky says in Bride of Chucky, can't beat a classic. Now we're moving on to Cult of Chucky, which is the last one besides the reboot. And Chucky puts his soul into the main female lead.
Right.
And the first thing she does is she walks, because she's actually in a wheelchair throughout these 2 movies. She walks out of the building, it's a mental institution, and Tiffany's there waiting for her, and Tiffany's in Jennifer Tilly's body. And they kiss. Like, passionate kiss. 1, Jennifer Tilly kissing another woman, haven't seen that since Bound. Hi. And 2, it's not going to continue this way, but because they're going into the TV show with Chucky. I would have liked to see where this goes, because now not only is Chucky in the doll, he's also in this woman. He's in a severed head, also in a vault across. Cult of Chucky, he found a way to separate his soul. But him being in this woman that's supposed to be in a wheelchair, that's going to be killing people from now on, and, you know, making out with Jennifer Tilly. I would have liked to see where that goes. Again, straightish white man. Hi. But that's
my boyfriend, ladies and gentlemen. I'm such a lucky girl.
Real quick, John Waters has a cameo in Seed of Chucky, but you're gonna be watching Seed of Chucky on your own.
Why?
Because I've seen it once and that was enough. Ask anybody about Seed of Chucky.
Then we're not gonna be watching it.
Oh my God. Okay. No, we're up to this one. All right. Remember this? Here's that where that. I gotta take these off. Don't read. Here's where that discretion from earlier comes in. High Tension. Alright. High Tension is a French movie that apparently did well at Cannes but bombed in America. And I'm going to tell you why. The 2 main leads are Maria and Alex. And they are going to Alex's parents to study. They're staying at Alex's parents' house. The first night there, while Alex is asleep and Maria is up masturbating, yes, a hulking mass of a man who drives a pickup truck knocks at the door. The father answers the door, slices him across the face, then puts his head in between the spindles of a railing and drops a bookcase on it, which breaks his friggin' head off. Kidnaps the mother, kills the mother, kidnaps Alex, changes her to a radiator, runs out the house after her little brother, kills the little brother in the field, comes back, takes Alex into his pickup truck, drives off while Maria sees all this happening, jumps in the back of the pickup with Maria. They get to a gas station where he fills up on gas and then kills everyone in the gas station. Maria gets out, Maria gets out, tries to call the cops, but she doesn't know where the hell she is, sees the massacre this guy did, grabs car keys, gets in a car, and follows this hulk of a man who's in the pickup truck with their best friend behind her to where it is they go. Maria gets Alex out. Alex runs away from her. Cut to the cops that are now investigating the gas station murder. All the videotapes are saying Maria did it. There is no hulking mass of a man. It's Maria this whole time. How are you driving 2 cars? How are you throwing these people around if you're this little thing instead of this hulking mass of a man? Not only that, the reason she's doing this all is because she's crazy. And guess what else? She's in love with Alex.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's kidnapping her to be with her. She's doing all this stuff because she loves her. And the movie ends with Maria in a mental institution, her face all messed up from the debacle. And Alex is looking at her through the one-way mirror, and Maria just goes, because she somehow knows she's there.
She can sense her presence.
Because psychos can do that. But again, it's one of those things where she's mentally ill, so she's in love with another woman. I can't imagine why this didn't go over in America.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Yeah, it's a road trip slasher that doesn't make any sense. Okay, we gotta get into these now. By the way, it's going downhill from here.
Should I just go? Should I just leave you to your own?
No, not at all. You ready for this one?
No, I'm gonna go.
No, stay with me, because you here is like softening the blow, because then it's just not me talking about this. Okay. This is a not very well-known movie. This is actually a very bad movie. From the lighting, the script, the production, the acting, everything about this movie is just bad. I wouldn't even be mentioning it if it wasn't for an ending that just punches you in the face. And it punches you hard. And it is a 1982 movie called Unhinged. And what Unhinged is, it's three women. Pick a name. Seriously, you're going to forget halfway through anyway. Who are going to a music festival, and on the way they get into an accident. Two of the women wake up. They're in a nice mansion in the middle of nowhere in the woods. The third friend is still unconscious, so the daughter of the house, her name is Marion. She lives there with her mother. There's a groundskeeper that's outside. Says, just chill for a bit, hang out. We'll take care of you guys till she gets better. Well, Marion lives there with her mother, and her mother is just crazy. She's out there. She's just insane. The big rule in the mansion is there's no men allowed in this mansion. There's no men. The groundskeeper stays outside. He never comes in. He brings the groceries and brings them to the door. That's it. And the reason for that is Marion's father ran away with another woman. So the mother doesn't like men.
So she's cock blocking. Everybody.
Yeah.
She's cock blocking everybody.
She's a cock blocking. All right.
Okay.
So one of the girls, we'll call her girl number 2. She decides, you know what, I'm going to just go to the woods, see if there's a little town that way, find someone, maybe get some actual help. All right, go ahead, go. Well, she never makes it out of the woods. She, of course, never makes it back. She goes missing. About this time, there is a very dirty, disheveled man running around the outside of the mansion, peering in through the windows at all the women. This is Marion's brother. He's mentally autistic, slow, ugly, male, so he's not allowed in the house. His name is Carl, but we'll refer to him as Red Herring.
Does he sell curtains?
Yeah. Nice one.
Oh, come on!
So, the one friend goes missing, the other friend wakes up. She gets killed too. Girl number 1 talks to the groundskeeper that there used to be, about the 2 children that live there. A lot of vague stuff that, you think, okay, whatever, it's the groundskeeper, it's the mother, or whoever. Well, Carl gets into the house and attacks the main girl. Well, the main girl finds a rusty gun in an attic, shoots him, and kills him. Marion runs up to the attic and sees her brother dead and starts weeping over him. The girl starts talking, and then Marion starts talking back, only now she's using this voice. No men are allowed in this house. So Marion then picks up a machete, brings it overhead. Now she's going overhead like this. Her shirt opens up, and you see chest hair. And she brings it down on girl number 1 repeatedly, over and over and over. And as she's standing there breathing heavy in a male style, the mother calls and says, "There's no men in this house, are there?" To which Marion replies in a female voice, "No, mother." You don't need to watch the movie now. I just gave you the twist ending, and like I said, it's a great twist ending. Now here's the question. This was a man that became a woman, not because he believed he was a woman, but because he needed to live. Does that count as trans?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. You want to go into the next one with that one? I didn't write any notes on this, but it's a 1987 movie called Fatal Games. It's about Summer Olympic Games. Basically the same plot, except only the killer in this. Who was the lead singer of the band Heart? If memory serves. She's the only name in this movie. Oh. So you go, oh, that's the killer. And she is the nurse to all these Olympians when they can't pull the numbers they did in practice and whatnot, they want to give them a steroid. This steroid was used decades ago, but had really bad side effects, and a lot of Olympians were kicked out for using steroids. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I do.
all these Olympians now are taking this steroid and are getting killed by a mysterious figure in a black outfit that kills everyone with a javelin. Two things about this from a horror movie point of view. If you kill everybody with the same weapon, it gets really boring really quickly. And two, if you're killing everyone with the same weapon, it's a javelin, it's a really good goddamn shot. You got an arm on you. The plot, the reveal that it's the nurse is, get this, one of the people gets hurt, so his girlfriend takes him to the nurse to patch him up and says that there's a killer out there. While he's on the table getting patched up by the nurse, who is the killer, there happens to be the newspaper from decades earlier talking about the Olympian that was kicked out for taking this steroid. And
It
it's
was
her.
her.
The 20-year-old paper is just sitting
And I
there.
haven't even seen it, so...
Here's the thing. So this Olympian was kicked out of the Olympians for being on the steroid. He was a he. He was a he. He took the steroids. They found out, drug tested him, whatever it is they do, kicked him out of the Olympics. He had a sex change to join the female Olympics. Didn't make it at the female Olympics because the steroids had then taken the toll on the body, and then with a sex change and everything like that. So when these new Olympians, they're forcing the drug on them, snapped, and is killing them. Now again, this is someone who had a sex change, not because they weren't a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body, whatever. And again, whatever, with the utmost respect, because I don't know the in-between, do they count as trans?
That's a good question.
I am bringing this up because, as I said in the beginning of the video, there's a lot of tropes, a lot of cliches in the
LGBTQ.
thank you, community. You've added a vowel recently. Kudos, I know that. Where's the two vowels? I don't know. I barely remember my own name half the time, my real name. Okay, so that was Fatal Games.
I'm lucky he remembers my name.
Oh, when the killer's revealed at the end of Fatal Games, they let the lady, I can't remember her name for the life of me, I am so sorry. She's talking in her normal voice, but in post they synthesized it like Ben Affleck Batman synthesized it to show that she's has a male's voice. But when I say they synthesize it like Ben Affleck's Batman, yeah, like put a microphone up to someone's neck and do this. So it doesn't come off as you sound her, this woman, having a male's voice. It sounds like she's just really congested and sick for the past 8 years. Yeah. Again, tropes and cliches I'm just tired of. Sticking on that plot line, we're almost done. By the way, if you really want, are you done with me sticking sick with like a, oh my god, all these negative images and horror movies with pride in the L.
GBTQ.
Thank you. Go watch Paranorman. Paranorman is an animated horror film with there's the big, the jock, who's not too smart. But when you need muscle, he's there and he helps Norman because he believes in everything you Norman do. Norman's sister's hitting on him the whole time. He's got a line at the end where he goes, yeah, I think I told my boyfriend all about this. Something like that. Sister's bummed, but still hangs out with him.
That's awesome.
So he's a positive model.
There you go. There's positive.
I found two.
But
I'm just going to call this a quick shot. Psycho. I know Norman Bates. He's not a positive. But because someone in the comments is going to go, oh, what about Psycho? Everyone knows Norman Bates. Dressed up like his mother, walked around the house pretending his mother was still alive. Started doing this when he was sexually frustrated because he didn't know who he was, this, that, and everything else.
So we're done with this one?
No, this is what I'm going to talk about next, which is the
Okay.
Insidious series, which you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
But there is the Bride in Black, which is the ghost That is, it's not the predominant ghost in the first one. That's the red-faced demon. But the Bride in Black is there, and it's the ghost, the main ghost in the second one. And it's by Patrick Wilson is the lead in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's Ed Warren. It's also these movies were also done by James Wan, so that's why it's Ed Warren.
Anything by James Wan?
Ever watch a Conjuring movie and then go in the Insidious, because then you're just gonna go, well, he just handled that shit. What is he?
Didn't you notice any James Wan film I've really enjoyed?
You haven't seen Saw yet. But
want to play a game?
I want to play a game. The Bride in Black, Parker Crane. Parker Crane was the Bride in Black who killed 20-something brides before they made it to their wedding. Patrick Wilson's character, he's a medium. He can see this ghost. Well, this ghost has been attached to him since he was a kid. It's been following him his whole life. In the movie, it said this is why he doesn't take pictures. It's why he stays to himself. He tries to avoid mirrors as much as possible because he could see this thing. Now, he had a hypnotist when he was young come in and try to block his visions so he wouldn't see the Bride in Black. The Insidious deals with astral projection, but I'm bringing this character up because Parker Crane, the Bride in Black, Parker Crane was a male. He was a male. I don't remember what happened to his father. That's something going off over there. I'll fix that.
Oh, I know. I'm just making sure that we still have space on the...
But the father was not in the picture. I don't remember what happened to the father, but the mother started making Parker Crane dress up as a little girl and raised him as a girl. So by the time he became a man, he wanted to be the perfect bride, but realized he could never be the perfect bride, so he started killing women because he could never be the perfect bride. At the end of his life, this is how he died. He had some issues, because he was in his 60s at the time, I think. Went into the hospital. Upon leaving, because when he was leaving the hospital, that was his ghost. The doctors ran into his ghost, and they were just like, "Oh, I just saw him." But you found out that he had actually killed himself in his room by cutting off his own genitals, and still haunts people as the Bride in Black, as a ghost. Now, I'm bringing this up.
It makes me so sad.
It is very sad, but this is where we're getting into the big one. The big one's coming up. You know it and I know it if we're hitting on this.
I haven't seen it and I know.
Yes. Parker Crane. Transgendered? If it was forced upon him, that wasn't his choice. He was mentally abused into that.
Well, like the little girl in Shameless. Or little... whatever.
The season of Shameless where Mandy's sister comes to live with him, and you find out Mandy's sister is like 12 and she has a peep. She was born a boy, but she was forced to wear clothes and everything like a girl. Yeah,
she was forced into being a girl, and it was kind of...
That's Shameless.
Yeah, that is Shameless.
You're not going to find a positive character in that.
Well...
Maybe Liam.
Nope. Not even. Because Liam turns out to be a shady shit, too.
But
we love him.
I know there's not a whole lot of positive characters that we've talked about, but again, I'm throwing these out there because these are cliches and tropes in horror movies. We mean no offense. We will say that again and again. You see the flag in the background. You see the horror movie poster in the background.
Wearing...
It's Nightmare on Elm Street, by the way, because I don't own the second one.
Wearing rainbows.
You are wearing rainbows. I stole you a rainbow pin yesterday. I'm not paying those prices. That's freaking Hot Topic. Price was double, too, because it was a Disney. We're kidding. We're kidding. But no, there's pride pins on the floor. There's the flag here. We have no hate, really, for...
No, none whatsoever.
Thank you.
And what we're saying is, like, the horror community needs to get with it and kind of, like...
Because there's a lot of similarities between the horror community. Because when I was growing up, loving the horror community, I was always looked at the outcast and the freak because I love the horror movies.
Me too.
Well...
I was the weird girl.
The same.
Well, think of it
this way. I know there's gonna be a long comment how we're not the same. I'm just saying, we're in this side of the pool together because we're looked down because we like I like this, and then
I was
that.
always the weird goth girl in school that was into witchcraft.
You were the weird goth girl? Me too.
You're adorable, and he makes the prettiest little goth girl ever.
Yeah, the whiskers give it away. You have cat whiskers, I have other.
I love you.
Okay, we got to talk about the big one. Now, here's the thing about the big one. It is both a negative
Yes.
and a positive.
Yes. And I know all of this, even though, again,
Because
I've
we've
never seen it.
talked about this 100 times. And that, of course, is
Sleepaway Camp.
1980? 81?
Wow, I am surprised because
I remembered a lot of other dates tonight.
I am
But
surprised.
if you don't know Sleepaway Camp,
There's a surprise.
go watch. You know Sleepaway Camp. Everyone knows Sleepaway Camp.
And again,
Even if you've never seen Sleepaway Camp, you know the twist. You know what it is. It was considered a clone of Friday the 13th until the ending. I do not agree with this. I will get into it. Okay, movie starts off when our main lead, Angela, is 6, 5, around that. So you had a sister and a brother. I'm assuming they were twins. It's never really brought up, but they're around the same age. And they're on their father, on a boat, in the lake, just having a day. There's a guy on the pier waving out to them. That'll be explained later. And while they're just having a family fun day, a boat of drunk teens that's not watching what they were doing, by the way, this movie takes place in Jersey, drives their boat through their little boat, kills the sibling, kills the father. Fast forward, Angela's now 13, I believe her character is supposed to be, even though I think Felissa Rose was much younger. She's been taken care of by her aunt since the accident. She lives with her cousin, her aunt, and her cousin Ricky. Her cousin's a couple over her. They're going to camp for the first time. They go to camp. Bad stuff happens at the camp. Then the murders start happening at the camp. No one knows who it is. The head of the camp thinks it's Ricky, protecting Angela because Angela's the quiet. She sits in the corner. She doesn't do nothing. She's just by herself. She doesn't want to make noise. She doesn't want to stir the boat. She doesn't want to do nothing. She's supposed to sit in the corner, and that's it. So they think it's Ricky. They beat Ricky half to death. Then he gets killed. It's Angela. It's Angela. The reveal is, and I'm going to get into this more when I talk about it. Angela's sitting at the beach, buck naked, with Paul. Paul's the guy she liked. Paul likes her. Paul's naked too in her lap. You think they just... I don't want to think about 13-year-olds doing this, but you think something happened. When the other camp counselor, the one we all like, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, I'm sorry, goes running to get her, Angela stands up with Paul's severed head and just kind of like, because that's the face. And it does a full body shot. Angela is a boy. Not trans, is a boy. Angela has, she got a peep. She got a wedding bait and tackle. She got, all the extra.
Wedding a bait and tackle. I haven't heard that one
the
in...
cash prizes, if you will. Now, that's the bad summary of it. What I'm going to get into is, first, when they get to camp, you are introduced to the cook. The cook is molesting these children. He tries to molest Angela. The cousin shows up. Ricky stops him. Later, when the cook's cooking, he has an accident. Basically, someone trips him and he falls into the biggest pot of boiling soup ever, and it just burns his whole face. And they stay on this scene for roughly 2 minutes because they paid for them effects. They're using them. The next person to get killed, if I'm right, one of the next two is one of the guys from the boys' bunk who was making fun of her because she just sits there and doesn't do anything. So he's like, what are you, retarded? What are you this? What are you that? What are you everything? and he gets killed in a bathroom with a beehive. She locks him in the bathroom, throws a beehive, and he gets stung to death. Third guy that gets killed.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Third guy that gets killed. I'm trying to remember the order. I might have the order backed up, but that is another one of the guys from the boys' bunks who was making fun of her because she just sits there. She's just quiet. She's this, that. He invites her to go skinny dipping with all the boys and all the girls because apparently that's what they're doing. None of the girls show up, so it is just a bunch of guys that go swimming bare ass in the lake, and they actually show it. And I'm hoping now, thinking as an adult, that I hope every one of them guys was over 18 because they show every one of their asses, and it's like 20 to 30 guys. He gets drowned in the lake. He has a chance to actually make out with one of the girls, but he screws up because he's a guy.
I thought none of the girls showed up.
One did, in the boat. She's not skinny dipping. They were in a boat together. Well, he flips the boat on purpose to get her wet. She swims off. Let me rephrase that. Her stunt double swims off. They don't make no, like, oh, let's hide her face in the camera. No, they show it's the stunt double. It's a completely different girl. So when he gets underneath the boat to flip it, Angela pops up and drowns him. The next person to get killed is the bitch at camp. Everyone knows the bitch at camp, Judy. She's been making fun of Angela this whole time and flies aboard and needs a screw. Lines like that. Why don't you take showers with the rest of us? Stuff like that.
I was 7 and I went to camp and there was girls there like that.
She gets killed by being knocked out. And then Angela takes a curling iron.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh. You know I was going to feel that. Is that why you're doing this?
Mm-hmm. Next person to get killed is one of the other bitches at camp, but she just gets stabbed in the back in the shower. It's a camp movie. You need the knife and
with the knife and the blood and the stabby stab.
Oh, but don't worry. She rinses the knife off after she's done killing. And by that I mean the water's still running, so she goes... Because that totally got all the blood off. But when the head of the camp sees this, because he had a shot with her, sees that she's dead, goes, beats up Ricky. I'm sorry, first he goes to find Ricky, but trips over about 5 or 6 little kids that are dead. These are the kids that were making fun of Angela, throwing water balloons at her, throwing dirt at her. Just all this. So she slaughtered all of them. Beats the crap out of Ricky. When he walks away from the body to go get the police, he's on the archery range. You don't see who the killer is. By this time, you know it's Angela. He goes, "It's you," and he gets an arrow through his throat in a really great effect. Because he's just standing there going, "You," and then you actually see that. And I was like, that's a really good effect. And then there's Paul, who was Ricky's best friend, who really did like Angela. He wasn't a jackass. He said some stupid stuff, but he said some stupid stuff being a nervous 13-year-old boy that liked a girl.
Okay.
Yeah, so he gets killed, and I'm going to get into the reason why, the positive in this and the negative of this. And I'm telling you this is, when the reveal happens, it does a flashback to when Angela is brought to her aunt, the aunt. Now watch them. You find out the aunt's husband just left her, and she always wanted a girl, and she goes, Angela's a great name. So neither one of the kids was named Angela. His name was actually Peter, and she just liked the name Angela. So the aunt says to this little child, Angela, that means angel. I know you're gonna love that name, won't you, Peter? So wait, it gets better. You gotta follow it because it never flat out says it. You gotta follow it. In the movie, I told you it's a dad and 2 kids at a lake, and they're waving to another guy on the beach, right?
Yeah.
The other guy's the husband.
Oh, so they're not even related.
No, listen. The aunt's husband left her for her brother, who's killed in a boating accident with one of her kids, and now the aunt has to take care of the only surviving kid of her brother's, whose husband left her for him for. You got me?
You're short of having to draw me a flow chart.
I'm probably gonna.
We're good.
Okay. Yeah, she's taking care of the kid whose father stole her husband. You got all that? Or do I gotta simplify it?
Nope, we're good.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay. So the ant's a little fucked in the head. And I mean a lot. Like there's people criticizing the ant's acting this whole time because she's very over the top. Like, oh goodness, we shouldn't do that at all. Because that's how she acts. When you hear that whole story like that, you kind of go, oh, yeah, okay, I understand why you're like this now. Not only that, she's a doctor. That's how they're able to get away from like physicals to send to school. She gave each one of the kids themselves a physical and filled out the paper. Yeah, they got around that nicely. So, you have an emotional and mental unstable woman taking care of a child who has a brain injury, who's mentally unstable himself, now mentally abused, emotionally abused, and physically abused because he's being told to dress and everything a certain way. Is this a trans movie?
Again, this is like all forced.
Yes.
That's all
you
forced
see what the horror
sex
movies are
change.
doing. Yes.
No, alright. So, horror community, get with it, stop
Would
that.
you like to know the positives in this movie, though?
Yes.
Robert Hiltzik, who wrote and directed the movie, I don't know his sexual preference, I just want to throw that out there, but more than half the cast and crew was gay.
Okay.
He wanted to do a horror movie that dealt with one of the scariest points in everyone's life, which is the coming of age and finding out who you are.
You're shaking the camera.
Sorry. Finding out who you are, 13, 14 years old, sexual confusion, body confusion, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
That, I get that, but was it executed with a child? Was it executed properly or poorly with a child that's being forced to go this way when really nature's pulling them this way? Or maybe nature was pulling them this way because they seen their father in a same-sex relationship and the ant just took it that way. A lot to think about, but again, how many did I say? 1, 2. In horror movies, oh yeah, High Tension, Insidious, Sleepaway Camp, apparently the reason why you're trans or gay or pan or whatever, all that in there is because you are mentally ill.
And that's not always the case.
This is a trope that needs to stop. If you've ever seen The Haunting of Hell House, was that the series on Netflix? Not Bly Manor, the other one.
I don't know.
You had a very positive gay female lead, and she was badass. She was a medium too. Need more characters like that. Stop blaming horror community mental illness on someone just being in love with someone of the same sex. Again, I really tried to find a lot of positive characters and that were, gay, pride, all that in horror movies, but I really couldn't because there's I'm sure there is. Leave some in the comments, but there's a lot of negative in there. Now, Felissa Rose, I've met you, love you. Angela's a great character. I'm just breaking it down, so please don't hate me.
So I have a question for you. Should I have given you more than 2 hours then?
I would probably be so depressed by the end of that. Because when I did Fatal Games, did you see me read anything? No, that was just one I remembered. And again, it was a character. They didn't want to be a woman. They just choose to be a woman to advance their career.
Right.
So, I really did try to look for positive characters, positive gay, trans, and all in between characters in horror movies for Pride Month. I couldn't. I did find a lot of negative. So I'm trying to turn that into a positive by saying, stop that trope. Stop that cliche.
Stop that, yes.
Stop that. I'm from Philly. We have a gayborhood right
that way.
right over there.
That way.
Right over there.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of gay friends. Got some trans friends. I'm just kind of tired of seeing it. Okay? Please stop that.
And I'm going to tell them something, too.
And to my friends in the Pride community, if I offended you, she did it. Her idea.
And also...
And I didn't mean to.
Hey.
No, we didn't mean to. We really, really didn't mean to, and I apologize for that.
And your girlfriend's bisexual, so... Yes, I am.
David Bowie and Labyrinth.
I'm a girl, so, I mean... yes, the bulge, but, yeah.
It sang a song in that movie. It's a deleted scene.
You're in danger.
If you're offended by this, I don't mean to offend.
No.
I'm just pointing out a lot of...
No, we don't mean to offend.
We don't mean to offend.
We don't mean to offend.
Now, I could have done a lot more. I really could have asked her. I was sitting, before I even started, writing this took about an hour. I did an hour of research through, like, just even if a character... I even forgot to mention something in friggin' Hellraiser 4 that I thought was great when I did Hellraiser.
You know what? I was proud of him.
Here.
He even turned off everything so he could sit down and do his research.
I want to show you something.
Me or them?
Yes. Here, what does that say?
Throw out in Hellraiser 4.
Throw out in Hellraiser 4 trans line.
line.
I actually wrote it down. There is a line in 1996's Hellraiser 4. One guy's asking another guy, would you date a trans woman? This is in 96.
Oh, yes, I remember
and
this.
And the other guy goes, she cute? And I just love that line.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great line.
She cute? She looks like me? No, she looks... You're not going to have more hair than me, I'm sorry. So, I don't mean to offend.
We don't mean to offend.
We don't mean to offend. Yes, I brought up Nightmare 2, brought up Sleepaway Camp. Attention. Hellraiser, I love the Hellraiser trans connection there. Gonna ask that you stop with the Babadook trans connection there.
Yeah.
If you don't know, the Babadook connection is basically you can't get rid of the Babadook. Once it's there, it's there. That's pretty big in the gay community. I just wanted you to remember at the end of Babadook, he was locked and chained in the basement and they were feeding him muck in a bowl. I don't think you want that image. Stick with Hellraiser. It's more gothically beautiful and more grotesquely beautiful. It was written by Clive Barker, who is an openly gay man. That is great. I love it. Love you guys. Keep the flag. Keep that.
We
I'm
love
not going to grab
everybody.
the Lego set because it's all the way over there.
Everyone is awesome.
Everyone is awesome. Yes. No hate. Well, if you have problems with what I said, leave it in the comments. But other than that, this was all... There's me shaking the camera again. This wasn't to put hate out. This was just to inform and just say, look, stop with the cliches. Stop with the tropes. Put more positive characters like David in Child's Bride of Chucky in there. Like the girl from Haunting at Hill House. Put more positive gay trans characters out there. All right? Hell. Ben Salem's right up the road. Every one of those guys thinks Scarface and Boondock Saints is actual real thing, and that's how it really happens. Willem Dafoe was the baddest gay guy in Boondock Saints. Let's make that a real thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Not Boondock Saints and Scarface. That's not really how it happens. I hate to break it to the Ben Salem kids. But Willem Dafoe's character in that should be a real thing.
They'll never learn. Let them think
They'll
that.
never learn.
Let them think that.
But we need more characters like that in horror movies.
Yes.
Yes, I write like a 12-year-old. I know.
It's fine.
Cliches, tropes, stop. More positive characters. See you in the next one.
Bye, guys.